Hello, and welcome back to the tutorial series. Today we're going to be going over conditions and loops. So yeah, let's go right to it. So, conditions, what are they? Conditions are basically just certain criteria that must be met in order for code underneath it to run. So the first example we're going to do is on join, if name of player equals Ophus, we'll do set join message to everyone welcome the owner back to the server. Good, simple enough. SK reload scripts. Now when we rejoin, it should say everyone welcome the owner back to the server. Now if you look at this, what this did here is it compared the name of the player with the string that I provided, and if those two match, this returns true and it will allow the code underneath it to run. Notice how we had to add a colon here and indentation. This is because we have a condition here, we need to make sure the code that we want to be dictated by this condition, it needs to be underneath it. If we didn't indent here, then this code would run regardless of the fact if this condition passed or not. However, this is not the only way to do conditions. You can also add something called inline conditions. So we'll do a second example here. On join, we'll do set game mode of player to creative. If player has permission, staff.game mode, that'll do. So what we've done here is we're giving the player automatically game mode creative if they have this permission. This is the same thing as this above, but it's just inline. So all of it is on one line, the effect and the condition. So we're in game now, we'll reload. And then when we relog, we should have creative. The final implementation of conditions that I'm going to go over are called filters. So filters essentially just let you filter a list of objects based off certain criteria or the condition you pass to it. So we're going to write a command called kill all, and essentially what it'll do is it'll kill all players where input does not have permission kill all.bypass. So what this does is it basically checks through all of the players online, and input refers to the current player that we're checking, and it'll check if the player does not have the permission kill all.bypass, and if they don't, they will be killed. We can check this by doing sk reload scripts. When I run kill all, I shouldn't die because I'm currently op. However, if I de-op myself and then run the command again, I'll die. If this has confused you at all, just stick around till we finish covering loops and it should make more sense. Speaking of which, we're going to now cover loops. So what are loops? Loops are a way to, surprise surprise, loop through a list or collection of objects. So the first loop we're going to cover is the basic just loop objects expression, and we're going to do that by writing a command called kit all. Then we're going to write trigger, and we'll write loop all players. We're then going to write clear inventory of loop player, and then we're going to give them a diamond sword, diamond pickaxe and diamond axe to the loop player. And then we're going to apply that swiftness to them, because why not, eh? Apply swiftness to the loop player for 1 hour. Right, now I can finally explain it. So essentially, as long as there's a player in this expression, we'll be able to keep looping and looping through until it's finished checking each individual player. The way we refer to the current player we're checking is by loop player. This would be similar to if we were looping through items, it would be loop item and so on. It's important you don't confuse loop player with player, because this is not the object we want. This will target the person who's executed the command. Now we go in game and we do sk reload scripts, and now when we run kit all, it should give me swiftness and my tools. So I'm the only one online right now, so it's just done it to me. If there were more people online, it would have given the kit to everyone. Now would be a good time to go back and look at this. So if you didn't understand this, we're going to rewrite it in the format of this. So what we can do here is we can do loop all players, and now we can pass the condition. So we'll do if loop player does not have permission kill all dot bypass. Oh, my keyboard died. Sorry about that, I'm back. So if loop player does not have permission kill all dot bypass, then we will kill loop player. Now if you look closely, or you might have already noticed, this line just the same as these lines. So like I said in an earlier episode, it's important you choose the most efficient method, because this is a lot better than this, because this loop is handled internally and it's just the more efficient alternative. Right, now that's out of the way, we can move on to the next loop type, which would be the while loop. So for this, we're going to write on join, if player does not have permission, troll.bypass, we're going to write while player is online, we're going to push player upwards, speed 1, and we're going to wait 1 second. So the while loop, you could sort of consider it a mixture between the loop and a condition. As long as this condition passes, this loop will continue to iterate through until this condition fails. That's why it's important you always have a wait effect in there, or it will overrun itself and the server will crash, because it will keep infinitely looping at an infinite speed and the server will freeze. The lowest you can make this is 1 tick, and there are 20 ticks per second in a Minecraft server, which means this will loop 20 times per second. A while loop would be useful for something like a scoreboard that needs to be repeatedly updated. Right, so let's change this back to a second, and go in game, reload, make sure we de-off ourselves, and then when we rejoin, it should start pushing us upwards, like it does now. Finally, there's the do while loop. This was a recent introduction by Skript, and basically it's almost the same as a while loop, but there'll always be at least 1 iteration. So if we do while players offline, and we do broadcast, this shouldn't run, player is online, because the player who calls the command is obviously going to be online, and then we do wait 1 tick. Now if we do sk reload scripts and we run /ready, it says this shouldn't run, Office is online. However, because it's a do while loop, this will always run 1 time before it checks the condition at the top. That's the difference between the while loop and the do while loop. If we did while players offline, the loop will never start, but because it's do while, it will always loop at least once. That's all for this episode. Next episode we'll probably be covering functions, which should be pretty fun. And yeah, hope to see you there. Bye bye.